fairly narrow elections for governor,
Incredible.
for senator. So what was the margin and how much impact did you have?
Good question. So the governor's election was slightly over 30,000 votes in Florida. The Senate election for Rick Scott was 10,033 votes.
So the margin of victory for Rick Scott was 10,000?
10,000 votes out of millions. Okay. We literally micro-targeted over 300,000 of our voter guides to social conservatives across Florida, and we had over 1 million paper voter guides handed out in thousands of churches across the state.
So you're talking 1.3 million voters were impacted, right, and 10,000 votes made the difference.
Yeah, we had some of the leaders in that state call us at election night, actually, and then shortly after that and said, had we not done this with them, that those elections would not have been won.
Which, of course, that's why you're going to tell the story that you're going to tell.
Yes.
And that's why the bad guys have targeted you.
Exactly.
Tell us that story.
Yeah, so what happened is we do these in churches all over. We make it free. We make it available. We just want to make sure that it's a biblical-based pastor who's willing to do this, and we hand them out, and then we micro-target to the people. Sometimes their pastors aren't willing yet. And we got a call. And it was a larger church, this was in the Texas Senate election with Ted Cruz and Beto. And a husband went out to get the car of one door of the church. The wife went to go with the kids and meet him in the front and went out another door. She got one voter guide, he got another one.
So you're handing them out at the doors.
That's right.
Okay.
And so he picks up a good one, she picks up the bad one. They get to the car and go and start comparing them, sitting in the car going, something's wrong.
What do you mean a good one and a bad one?
Okay, so our voter guide usually covers 10 to 12 issues, and we just footnote where is the candidate on the Supreme Court, on life, on marriage, on poverty, on prison reform, on economic issues, on the, those.
And you're comparing Beto O'Rourke with Senator Ted Cruz.
Okay. So she gets her voter guide, and it says that Ted Cruz, who everybody knows is pro-life, whether you like him or not, that's his voting record, and that's his facts. It said he was not pro-life. He was against pro-life because he didn't vote for Obamacare, which gives people access to health care, therefore he's against it. So they call the pastor calls us, and we began the process we're still in now of an active investigation looking at, because clearly it's civil, it's violations of copyright, it's fraud, it's criminal election fraud to represent that you're with someone. And so we began that whole process.
So your attorney, and in your opinion, they committed not just one, but a series of serious crimes.
Local, state, and possibly federal. We're looking at that right now.
In an attempt to manipulate the election.
Exactly.
Because they know voter guides work.
That's right.
And so they're trying to either steal your ability to put them out or actually hijack it.
And deceive people. And so they literally came inside the house of God to deceive the people of God during early voting, during the election when these are being handed out. And we don't know how many thousands of people got the wrong information and didn't have a spouse there to say, wait a minute, I got a different voter guide.
Right.
And so they brought them into the church. It was a couple. They were pretty professional. So they parked out in each one of the locations. We know of at least 3 different cities this happened in, and they parked out where we couldn't get the license plates of the cars, but then we have them on surveillance.
You have
Yes.
Video evidence of them. We pulled it up here.
Yep.
So tell us about it a little.
So this is 3 different locations. They would literally change clothes in between different services. It's the same couple. We now have a hard ID on one of these 2, and we're in the process of finding the hard ID on the second one. But clearly they were spent a lot of time and money and effort to do this. We don't know how widespread it is all over the nation, but we know for sure that this is...
3 cities in Texas.
That's right, 3 cities in Texas. And as you know, that election, was pretty narrow. It wasn't as close as Florida, but it was pretty narrow. And so we're trying to determine exactly who was behind this.